Life is a big school. We all have to learn.
In the ancient world of Greece, there was a great poet named Hesiod who told a tale of the origin of the human race. This story begins with the creation of the world and the gods who lived on Mount Olympus. The first era was the Golden Age, a time of peace, prosperity, and happiness. During this era, the world was ruled by the great god Cronus, who was kind and just. The earth was bountiful, providing everything that was needed without the need for hard work. People lived in harmony with nature and each other, and there was no crime or violence. It was a time of perfect happiness and contentment. The second era was the Silver Age, a time of decline. The people of this era became greedy and selfish, forgetting the simple, harmonious way of life that was enjoyed during the Golden Age. The earth became less fertile, and the people had to work hard to cultivate crops and provide for their families. They began to fight amongst themselves and war became a constant threat. The once peaceful world was now plagued by conflict and hardship. The third era was the Bronze Age, a time of war and violence. The people of this era became even more savage and ruthless, using bronze weapons to wage wars against each other. The earth shook with the sounds of battle, and the sky was dark with the smoke of burning cities. The once beautiful world was now a place of death and destruction. The gods were so saddened by the state of humanity that they decided to intervene and put an end to the Bronze Age. The fourth era was the Age of Heroes, a time of great warriors and legends. The gods chose a few exceptional individuals and gave them strength and courage beyond what was thought possible. These heroes embarked on great adventures, battling monsters and performing incredible feats. They were honored and respected by all, and their names were passed down through the ages as symbols of bravery and valor. However, as the Age of Heroes came to a close, the gods saw that the people of the world were still plagued by greed, violence, and injustice. They decided to create a new era, the Iron Age, in which humans would face the consequences of their actions. The Iron Age was a time of misery and hardship, a time of endless toil and suffering. The earth was less fertile and the people had to work hard just to survive. The once harmonious relationship between humans and nature was gone, replaced by conflict and struggle. The gods were no longer kind and benevolent, but distant and unapproachable. The people of the Iron Age were doomed to live a life of hardship, always searching for a glimpse of the happiness that was once theirs. As the centuries passed, the world changed and the people of the Iron Age changed with it. The old values of respect, honesty, and kindness were forgotten, and power became the ultimate goal. People were cruel to one another, disregarding the suffering of others in their quest for wealth and status. The once peaceful world was now plagued by injustice and violence, with war and oppression being a constant presence. The goddesses of conscience and justice, who used to hide their figures in white silk, could no longer bear to watch the world suffer. They left humanity and returned to the immortal life of the gods on Mount Olympus. As the Iron Age continued, the lives of the people became increasingly difficult and full of suffering. The once rich and fertile land now seemed barren, and the crops that had once flourished now struggled to grow. The sun beat down mercilessly upon the fields, and the rain never seemed to come at the right time. The winds grew stronger and more erratic, causing damage to the crops and homes of the people. The once calm and peaceful seas now roiled with storms and shipwrecks were a common occurrence. The people of the Iron Age lived in constant fear, for there was never a time when they felt safe. Bandits roamed the roads, preying on the weak and the vulnerable. Wars raged across the land, leaving countless dead in their wake. Armies marched across the countryside, destroying everything in their path, and the people of the Iron Age had nowhere to hide. Amidst all of this suffering and despair, the people began to lose their faith in the gods. They asked why the gods had abandoned them, why they had allowed such misery and hardship to befall their lives. They cried out to the gods, asking for help, but their prayers went unanswered. The once strong and vibrant religious practices of the people grew weak, and many began to question the very existence of the gods. Despite all of this, there were still those who held fast to their faith. They believed that the gods had a plan, that they were testing the people, and that one day they would reward those who had been faithful. These people would gather in secret, praying for deliverance and hoping for a better tomorrow. And so, the Iron Age continued, a time of misery, hardship, and suffering for the people of the world. The once bright and hopeful future that had once seemed possible now seemed nothing more than a distant dream, lost in the mists of time. The people of the Iron Age lived in a world of darkness, where the light of hope had been all but extinguished. But despite all of this, the people continued to cling to life, struggling against the hardships that faced them every day. They lived in the shadow of their past, in the hope that one day their descendants would know a better world, a world free from the misery and hardship of the Iron Age. And so, the cycle of life continued, with the people of each age learning from the struggles of their predecessors and passing on the lessons to those who would follow. In this way, the story of the Iron Age lives on, a reminder of the difficulties faced by the human race and a testament to their resilience and determination.